So to begin, I just have a question for every y'all. Have you ever been, in a classroom or listening to someone talk about a speech that you know you're supposed to be paying attention to, but you're really just not paying attention? Like you're really just dozing off, and you're like on your phone, you're doing whatever, like in class, anything, and you're like your neck is like almost straining itself as you're like trying not to pass out, and you're looking over there, and you see that there's someone over there taking notes, being really attentive, and you're like, wow, man. How does he do that? And then, like, I'm gonna be honest, that's me. All right, that's 20 years of me. That was me 5 years ago. That was me 5 months ago, 5 weeks ago, and thank God a video was before me, but 5 minutes ago. And so really, I don't really want to take too much of your time today because I know how great our attention spans can be as college students. But yeah, so hi, my name's William. For those of you that don't know me, I am a student at Lehigh. And I am a sophomore in the CSP program. So really, it's really interesting because I had a hard time coming up with the speech really, and then I knew what I wanted to say, but I had a really hard time figuring out like how to say it, and really it wasn't until like recent events that really made me realize how I was going to present this. So this happened a few weeks ago, and I was in class. CSE 198. Don't know if anyone here is in that class, but super interesting class. You guys are in that. Yeah, so it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and I'm basically gone. I'm on my phone. I'm looking at memes, and I'm watching Family Guy on my computer on the side, and I'm just gone. And that's when I get a text message, and the text message, all it says was, "Fill in the blank. Life is." And I'm getting this message, and I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at my Family Guy episode, and I'm like, wow, am I really the right person to be asking here? And that thought kind of turns into like a big, like critical moment where I'm like, wow, like what am I doing with my life? Like, oh my God, I didn't even do last week's homework. And like, don't worry, I did answer the question, but for the suspense, I'm gonna put the story on pause, and yeah, I'll tell you guys at the end. So today's theme is about, okay, it's not on board, but today's theme is limitless, or really it's about limits. And today I'm here to talk to you guys about personal limits and what that is. So to me, how I think of personal limits is really motivation, right? Like it's kind of like limits that people put on themselves that kind of hinder them from maybe their potential or their success. And to me, that's a lot of motivation, right? That comes to like, if you're motivated to do things, and that's what I'll be focusing on today. So in media, or in life in general, like you hear all these stories, right? And like what stories I'm talking about. I'm talking about like Rocky Balboa, right? Sylvester Stallone went to Hollywood, literally had like no money, had like $30 or something, and like he sold his dog to stay alive, and then like he wouldn't like sell his script to people unless he was going to act in it, and eventually came, the superstar that we know today. Like stories like LeBron James, right? Was son of a teenage mother, a single parent, who was really destined to be like a nobody, and then really trained so hard, worked so hard to be the NBA superstar. And other like amazing stories like Elon Musk, like he had troubled parents, moved to Canada alone to attend college, and it's like, wow, and like became, what is he, like one of the most aspiring people of all time, and really like these stories are great, and they make me feel great, and should make you guys feel great too. Like, doesn't it make you just want to like get out of bed in the morning and be like, yo, yeah, I'm gonna change the world. Like, let's do this. I'm ready. Yeah, no, that's how I feel. Right? But what really happens? Like, what really happens? Exactly. Like your answers, nothing happens. So, but why is that? Why are these stories that are made and geared to make an impact in your life somewhat ineffective in doing so? Why does nothing happen? What happens a week after you watch Shawshank Redemption? What happens a week after you listen to Steve Jobs' speech at Stanford? And what happens a week after your dad gives a pep talk? Nothing. Why is that? Why doesn't these things make you more inspired or more motivated? Or maybe they do, but why is the effect not there? And more importantly, what will be? So before I tell you guys the story that I'm going to tell today, I'm going to give a little background. So those of you guys that know me know that I have a sister. My older sister is, I guess, what you would call a very motivated individual. And what that means is like, really she got like 2,400 on the SAT back when it was scored that way. She went to Carnegie Mellon for computer science. She was an athlete, she was a boxer, she was a musician, played in a band. Like, everything that really I wanted to be. And so as a result of that, my parents really let her pave my way in life. And I don't blame them. So what ended up happening is my sister gave me like a bunch of motivation stuff. Like she made me do like morale exercises. She gave me like pep talks, and like a bunch of motivational videos, like a lot. Like there was a solid time in my life where I watched a motivational video every day as I got out of bed for a month. And that's what she made me do. And it was great. Like, I loved it. Got me through the day. Like, woke up, and I was like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm going, okay? And then, like, midway through the day, I'm like, yeah, I'm not that ready, but I'm still ready to go. And then by the end of the day, really, the truth is I didn't get it, right? Because all these videos, they're like, oh, like, persevere, like, be diligent, like, follow your dreams, all that kind of stuff. And, like, that's all great and all, but that's honestly so far away from me, And I think at the end of the day, I didn't really understand what she was trying to tell me. And to be honest, I don't think she did either. So the story I'm about to tell you is definitely a story that's more bitter than it is sweet. And this is actually my first time sharing this story in front of an audience, or really in a group in general. But I think it is really necessary. Okay, so it's summer 2015, and I'm having like the worst day of my life. All right, I wake up, my car's not pumped, and I'm just getting to work late, and my boss is like, what are you doing, man? Come on, like this needs to happen quicker. And then like, customers are being annoying, and I'm just basically having the worst day of my life. Really the only thing I had to look forward to was this family dinner. So my family has a lot of these like family dinners, but because my parents live overseas in China, and me and my sister study in different states. Although these dinners happen a lot while we're together, because of the distance, it actually doesn't happen that much throughout the year. So as a result, this is like a big thing to me. Like I'm really pumped for this, and it turns out to be a disaster. Like 10 minutes in, and my parents are mentioned my sister's internship, which is really a pretty bad idea because it's been a sensitive topic ever since she accepted it. So that summer, my sister worked at an NGO about education, and like that's great and all, and but she studied computer science, and I guess my parents just didn't really see how that was going to help her professionally. And as a result of that, they've been arguing. So at this point, my sister's kind of keeping quiet, and I know she's about to snap. But me, like I'm drained, and I'm tired, and I had a horrible day. So I'm sitting there, and I'm already, like in my mind, I'm pissed. I'm already upset already, right? But I'm whatever, I keep my mouth shut. So I think my sister's gonna snap, and she does. So now we're like 20 minutes in, and my sister and my parents are basically like full-blown arguing across the table. And I'm still there, and I'm just like, oh, like, come on, I can't do this. And really, like, it just gets me more and more frustrated. And soon enough, I'm siding with my sister. I'm arguing with my parents as well, and this dinner is just turning out horribly. Until 40 minutes in, and then my sister, finally can't take it no more, grabs the car keys, leaves the room. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm done too. I can't be here anymore. So I follow her, and she leaves out of the house, and I follow her out the house. And she takes a left to the garage, and I consider following her, but, on second thought, I take a right and walk down the street. So now we're like an hour in, basically. And I'm walking down the street, and I'm mad, I'm not as much as mad at my parents for saying the things that they did, but, also mad at my sister for not, I guess, dealing with it correctly. And most part of all, mad at myself for not being able to de-escalate the situation or this part or this functionality of my family. And even worse, I just feel like I didn't have something to stand for at that moment. And that's rough. You know that saying that, like, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything? That's rough, right? Because in the end, my sister stood for something, arguing against my parents, and I just didn't have that. And really, I'm just lost in thought right now, and like street lamps are going over here, and I'm upset. And that's when I get the call. And I'm looking down at my phone, and I pick it up, and it's my parents, right? It's my mom, really, specifically. And I'm considering not taking it, again, but I take it, right, because I'm a good kid. So I take it, and the only words that come out of her mouth was, something's happened to Jennifer. Yeah, and I already know what it is, but I wish I didn't, right? So now I'm riding in this Uber, and I'm just, all I feel is guilt. Why didn't I stop her? Why didn't I say anything? Why didn't I do this, do that? And I get to the hospital, and the operating light's already on, so I can't do anything. And my parents are sitting there on the bench. And, I don't do anything. I don't cry. I don't yell. I don't get mad. I just sit on the bench across from them. And I put my head in my hands. So the next 7 days were a blur. By that, I mean I didn't really eat. I didn't really leave my room. And I don't really remember if I slept or not, because when something like this happens, every minute is just kind of like a drop in and drop out of consciousness. So, and obviously, as I'm being, all gloom and doom here, my parents are definitely, they're planning out the final event. And I know at that last day, that before that last day, that I had a decision to make. That I could either, go with my sister to wherever she is now, or move on. And that was the day that I promised myself that I would live each and every day to its best, because the truth is, tomorrow isn't always promised. And now I was standing there in my black suit, and they're lowering her in, and obviously I'm sad, right? So I'm like crying and everything. But at the same time, I feel a sense of peace that I can't really explain. So throughout the next few weeks, I'm cleaning out my sister's stuff, and that's when I discover her project. So I'm cleaning out my sister's computer, and I realized that she's been doing extensive research on the difference of education between Western and Eastern. And that's really when, and as I read through her unpublished articles, more and more did I develop an interest in the subject of my own, And as I was reading what she thought about this, I think, wow, I have my thought about 2 cents on this too. And really, what happened was, I began to have a reason to wake up in the morning. And finally, but instead of taking her approach of, writing behind the scenes and doing all that, I decided to take another approach, a more hands-on approach, for those of you guys that know what TEDx is, but that's for a different story. But really the point is, I have finally understand what my sister's been trying to tell me the whole time. That behind all of these stories, behind all of these legacies that you all hear, is a reason, is a why. And that why or reason is commonly known today as a dream. And my sister's dream was in the difference in education, and it just happened to be a coincidence that I found mine in hers. And that's the only thing, that's the one thing I didn't get from all these videos, all these motivational videos, was that everyone's dream is different. It's easy to see other people reach for the stars based on their passions, but it's really hard to replicate that flame when you don't really have one of your own. And obviously I don't want to stand here, and I don't want you guys to leave thinking that motivational videos are bad and these legendary stories are somewhat don't apply to us because their motives of moving forward are different from ours. I just suggest that the next time you guys do watch a speech or read a biography about someone who's done something, don't focus so much on what they've done, but focus instead on why they did it. And I know that's not going to help you find your dream of your own, but it will definitely help you in knowing what to do once you find it. And so fast forward, and I'm still sitting in that classroom looking at the text, right? And within the next 10 seconds, my reply was out. and only can contain one word, good. And so now I'm here and I'm thinking, and I think back to my chair and I'm thinking, I'm looking around the classroom, like how many of my classmates would answer that? And I'm looking at my friend who texted me and I'm like, would she answer that? And I guess really the question today to you guys is, would you guys answer that? Right? Because for the longest time, I had this thought that improvement came with unsatisfaction, and happiness came from satisfaction, thus creating this universe in my head where happiness and improvement couldn't coexist. But only after the incident did I realize how wrong I was. That the true happiness comes from improvement. I think in our generation, there's so many distractions, that give us this so-called happiness that we tend to lose sight of what truly makes us happy. And I think what truly makes us happy is waking up in the morning and realizing that you're taking one more step towards something that you believe in, something you're passionate about, your dream. And to unleash us from our personal limitations is to realize that our only motive in life really should to be happy. But not in all of those like distracted happiness, but in happiness that you get when you're chasing your dreams. So at this point, really, I want to thank my sister for giving me the realization that I got, that I'm able to share with you guys here today. But at the same time, I'm hoping that everyone sitting in the audience can reach something similar without going through the adversity that I've been through. Thank you.